overall, tell us a little bit about what needs you are seeing not being addressed by public schools and why you might think that charter schools are the answer.
I believe charter schools can help with some of the challenges that we're facing in public education. And I'll break those into four big areas. So choice for families, accountability, flexibility for leaders to lead, and then also flexibility for teachers and leaders to innovate.
Okay, let's make sure we have those. Choice for parents, is that right?
That's right.
Accountability for the schools?
Accountability for schools and accountability for professionals.
Okay.
Flexibility for leaders to lead. And flexibility for teachers and leaders to innovate. First, in thinking about choice for families, it is the case that in traditional public school districts across the country, you're beginning to see more choices than we once had. And some of those choices are in the way of magnet schools. Some of them are in the way of specialized academies. Some school districts are bringing in choice by way of creating zones. And you see some of this in Louisville, creating zones where you give parents choices amongst schools that reside within a particular zone. And so I think we're starting to understand within public education across the board that choice is really a good thing.
And what is the need that choice meets?
The need that choice meets, and I'll give you two primaries. I spoke in the beginning about this idea that across America, particularly in high poverty areas, the quality of the school, and quality based on indicators like teachers' years of experience, based on performance assessment, those types of indicators, resources at a particular school, that those things we find are often correlated with the neighborhood, the socioeconomic status of the neighborhood that the school serves. So if you're talking about a poor neighborhood, then more likely than not across America, it's going to be the case that those kids would attend an under-resourced school.
And so giving parents in those poorer neighborhoods a choice to possibly move out. So I'm definitely hearing a need related to choice of something about in poverty areas, resource-constrained schools.
Yeah.
So something that choice allows for.
And then the truth is, it's not, poverty is the one that stands out, I believe, most clearly. And I think it's one of the biggest needs that we have. But in addition to poverty, we have things like differences in kids' learning styles, differences in terms of what kids want to do with their lives and with their careers. And depending on where they live and the choices that are available to them in the local school district, a child or a family may or may not have options within that district that will prepare him or her for the career or the life that they aspire to. And so choice, I believe, deals with that need as well.
Okay. Did you get that? Choice for aspiring student goals.
Dr. Lewis, if I may ask, how does a charter school address the difference in the learning needs or the styles? You referenced that as a really important need. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we recognize, I believe most choice advocates will recognize, is you have a difficult time finding any school that can address the true diversity of learning needs, of learning styles, of desires for parents, of aspirations of children. You find it's difficult, if not impossible, to find a school that addresses all of those things. And so what choice advocates would say is that we want to create enough options out there. Diverse schools that do different things, schools that serve kids in different ways, so that parents can choose the school that most appropriately meets the needs of his or her child. So not that a charter school would do a better job of meeting all the kids' needs, but that having a range of options would be a better option for parents.
And so Deanna definitely brought out a need of the learning style of a student, that choice helps give choices School choice would give choices for different learning styles that maybe a traditional school would not give. So learning styles of students would be unique. Okay.
In the area of accountability, I can talk
Yes.
a little bit about that need. And it's related. So if we think about schools that typically operate in high poverty areas, these are schools that, especially in most urban areas, have not performed at a satisfactory level as defined by state metrics for a long period of time.
Okay.
They've continued to operate that way and nothing happens. And so choice advocates, charter school advocates would say that with charter schools, if you open a charter school, if the law is written the way the law should be written and implemented in the way that it should be implemented, a charter school would not be able to continue to fail and operate. That school should be closed down. Along the way to closing down, there should be mandatory actions in place to get the school where it needs to. But if the school cannot appropriately serve the children, then the school should not be there. And that's not anything that we have in place with traditional public schools right now.
Okay. So the accountability, you're asking for the accountability in the public school or of the charter school?
Well,
That choice gives accountability, but is it accountability to both?
different types of accountability. So when we think about accountability, we can think about, I typically talk about accountability in 3 different ways, right? Inputs accountability, where there's accountability for the things that we put into schools, like resources. We make sure that schools are resourced right. We make sure that teachers are credentialed, that leaders are credentialed, those types of things. Then we can talk about performance accountability, which in the choice movement is typically what we're talking about when we say accountability. That's accountability, making sure that schools are performing in the way that they are, that you're having the outcomes that you want. But then the third type of accountability we can talk about is consumer accountability. And that is accountability directly to the parents, where parents have the opportunity to use their feet, to take their kid out of the school that is either not meeting state standards or not meeting his or her standards, and send their child to another school.
All right, good.